Hi, everyone, and welcome to another smoking hot episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
Hope you're all handling the heat. Where we live, we're pushing 100-degree temperatures. Some of you from Arizona, for example, might not think that's a big deal, but around here, that's hot.
Yeah.
And Zapil and I work in the woods, so we're out in the heat all day and are really feeling it.
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic lately. So, before we get started, remember to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our great D&D content. Today's build was for Ferner Ranunamentra, and he asked for a Bladesinger combined with a Profane Soul Blood Hunter with the Hexblade as a patron. We have not used Blood Hunter before, as it is a D&D Beyond content, and we try to stick with Wizards official stuff. But Wizards did buy D&D Beyond, and the class is pretty popular, so we thought we'd give it a go. For those not familiar with Blood Hunter, it is a class based around blood magic. Most of the subclasses aren't casters, but gain curses and rights that power them up in combat, often by sacrificing their own life energy. The subclasses are based around what they hunt: werewolves, ghosts, mutants, etc. The subclass we are using is the Profane Soul. It is a little different, is that because the patron, like a warlock, get pat magic and a few abilities depending on their patron, which they choose from among the same options as warlock. If you don't use this class in your campaign, you might still enjoy this build. You can find this class online and read the specific rules about it. We are going to explain some in detail, but it's obviously we can't cover everything.
Now, there's a trope in D&D called the Edgelord, which is a dark character with a tragic backstory, often gloomy or rage-filled, and frequently a rogue or warlock. In my opinion, the Blood Hunter takes this trope one step further, and the Profane Soul makes a warlock seem cheerful and well-adjusted. We're going to really pursue this image with this build and make the edgiest of the edgy. If you like this type of character, like I do, we aren't making fun of it, we're just having fun with it. So starting with race, we're taking Shatter Kai, which can be found in Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse. The race itself has a tragic backstory. They are elves that were drawn into the Shadowfell in service to the Raven Queen. Once, much like other elves, they have now been corrupted over the centuries by the dark magic of the Shadowfell, now existing in a state between life and death. They have wizened features and ashen skin. Some still serve the Raven Queen, while others venture into the material plane to make a life for themselves. They have typical elven traits of dark vision, trance, fey ancestry, and keen senses, which grants proficiency with a perception. Additionally, they get resistance to necrotic damage, and an ability called Blessing of the Raven Queen. Proficiency times per day, this lets them teleport 30 feet as a bonus action. At third level, you're also partially intangible afterwards. You gain resistance to all damage after you teleport until the start of your next turn. Now this says all damage, so it should apply to damage done by magical weapons as well. We also speak Common and another language of our choice, and Elven seems a natural choice. Shatter Kai get the ability boost Common in Mordenkaine's, which is 3 +1 bonuses that you can put on any score you want, but no more than 2 on a single ability. For our abilities, we went 8 on Strength. We have a slim Elven build weakened by the Shadowfell's corruption. We put 15 on Dexterity, using a bonus to make it 16. We have Elves' Natural Grace, and Life in the Shadowfell has given us quick reflexes. Also, a Blood Hunter needs a minimum of 13 in either Strength or Dexterity for multiclassing. We put 13 on Constitution, making it 14 with a bonus. A 15 on Intelligence, making it a 16 with our last bonus. Intelligence is our casting stat and the statistics we use for our Blood Hunter abilities. We also need at least a 13 for multiclassing. Blood Hunters also have the option to use Wisdom instead, but as we need Intelligence for our Wizard casting and multiclassing, we're sticking with that. We put 10 in both Wisdom and Charisma.
For our background, we need our own tragic backstory, and we are using the Haunted one from The Curse of Strahd. We experienced a terrifying event that shaped our destiny. One of the options listed is that we did a terrible thing to avenge a murder of a loved one, and we are haunted by the thought of the monster you have become. We are going to use this as the motivation that led us to pursue the dangerous and difficult. The Hunter's Bane ritual that imbued us with powers of the Blood Hunter and turned us away from the studies in the elven art of the Bladesong. The background gives us proficiency in 2 skills among Arcana, Investigation, Religion, and Survival. Our previous studies in Wizard before becoming a Blood Hunter gives us knowledge in Arcana, and our Solidarity nature has given us the skill of Survival, which is also useful in tracking our foes. We get 2 languages. One is an exotic language associated with our dark past, and we want Infernal. As Blood Hunters target fiends and dark wizards, this will be very useful. Our second language takes something appropriate to your campaign. The feature of the Haunted one is Heart of Darkness. Those who look into your eyes can see that you have faced an unimaginable horror and no stranger to darkness. Commoners may fear you, but they will extend you every courtesy and do their utmost to help you as long as you haven't shown yourself to be a threat to them, even taking up arms to fight alongside you when you face an enemy alone.
And we're starting out as Blood Hunter at level 1. In our younger days, we were studying wizardry and the Bladesong, but our tragedy interrupted our training and we pursued the Hunter's Bane ritual instead. For practical reasons, we want martial weapons and light armor, which we wouldn't get starting as wizard. Because unlike most elves, Shatter Kai don't get elven weapon training. We get 3 skills from Blood Hunter list, and we want acrobatics, investigation, and history. Our hunter's training includes honing our agility as well as scholarly pursuits in order to understand the enemies we hunt. We get proficiency with dexterity and intelligence saves, light and medium armor, simple and martial weapons, and alchemist supplies. We want to use a rapier and studded leather armor for our equipment. We can use a shield for the time being, but when we get spellcasting, we'll need a hand free, particularly once we get the Bladesong. We will also need daggers or darts for range attacks until we get cantrips. We have completed the Hunter's Bane ritual, which alters our blood, binding us to the darkness and honing our senses against it. We have advantage on survival checks to track Fae, fiends, or undead, and advantage on intelligence checks to recall knowledge about them. It also empowers our body to shape Hemocraft magic, using our blood and life energy to fuel our power. Some of our abilities require a saving throw, and the DC is 8 plus proficiency plus our Hemocraft modifier, either intelligence or wisdom. The first of these powers is Blood Maledict, which allows us to learn a blood curse, and we will get more as we level up. We can use the curse once per rest, and also get more uses as we level up. There are a number of curses available, and we'll describe the ones we are taking, but it's a good idea to look through the list. Also, we get a Hemocraft die, which affects some of our abilities. It's currently a D4 and gets larger as we level up. When using our Blood Maledict, we can amplify the curse by rolling the Hemocraft die and taking necrotic damage equal to the die roll. This damage cannot be reduced, so our necrotic resistance won't help. Amplifying the curse adds additional effects and allows the curse to affect creatures without blood, which are usually immune to the Blood Maledict. Our first curse is called Blood Curse of the Eyeless. When a creature within 30 feet makes an attack, we can roll our Hemocraft die and subtract it from the attack roll. We can do this after the roll, but before it is determined if it would hit. The creature is immune if it is immune to the blinded condition. If we amplify the curse, it applies to all of the creature's attacks until the end of its turn, and we roll for each one separately.
After becoming a blood hunter and pursuing our craft, we resume our magical studies seeking to master the art of the Bladesong. So at second level, we take first level of wizard, getting a spellcasting and gaining a spell book with 6 spells from the wizard list. We also learn 3 cantrips. Before we choose the cantrips, we are going to be taking the sub-theme of our abilities. Blood hunters get certain elemental abilities, and we are going to take spells and cantrips to complement that. For this character, we are going to use the storm theme, taking spells and abilities that feature cold, thunder, and lightning. For cantrips, we want Ray of Frost. We will eventually get Eldritch Blast, but Ray of Frost ability to slow enemies makes it useful even after that, especially since we don't get invocations to increase the power of our Eldritch Blast. We also want Booming Blade and Lightning Lure. For our spell book, we will want Detect Magic and Identify. Both are important spells for Wizard and our rituals. We want Shield, Silvery Barbs, and Absorb Elements for some excellent defensive reactions. And lastly, we want Ice Knife for an attack spell with an area of effect. We also get Arcane Recovery, allowing us to get back half our level rounded up in spell slots on a short rest. At third level, we take second level of Wizard, adding 2 more spells to our book, and we want Thunderwave for another strong area of effect spell, and we also want Protection from Evil or Good to protect us from the fiends that we hunt. We also get our Arcane Tradition, which is Bladesinging. We get trained in War and Song, giving us proficiency with light armor and single one-handed melee weapons, but we already have that from Blood Hunter, and we get proficiency with Performance. We also get Bladesong. Proficiency times a day, we can use a bonus action to start a Bladesong, and it lasts for 1 minute or until incapacitated, or if we are wearing heavy or medium armor, or use 2 hands to attack with a weapon. There is some ambiguity on whether this includes 2-weapon fighting. I interpret it to mean that 2-weapon fighting would end it, but I have been told by some that it only applies to using a weapon 2-handed. In other editions, Bladesingers were single-handed fighters, so I use it that way in my games, but if your DM sees it otherwise, it doesn't really matter for this character because we need our free hand for spellcasting anyway. The Bladesong gives us the following abilities. We get an AC bonus equal to our intelligence modifier, an extra 10 feet of walking speed, advantage on acrobatics checks, and a bonus on concentration checks equal to our intelligence modifier.
And at 4th level, we are done with Wizard, and are going to finish the build with Blood Hunter, taking 2nd level. We get a fighting style and we want dueling, adding +2 damage to attacks with a single one-handed weapon, when we are not using a weapon in the other hand. We also get a Crimson Rite. As a bonus action, we can activate a Crimson Rite that we know on a single weapon. When we do, we take necrotic damage equal to a roll of our Hemocraft die. As with the Blood Maledict, this damage can't be reduced, so our necrotic resistance doesn't help. A weapon can only have one Rite at a time, and it lasts until we finish a short or long rest. Attacks we make this weapon deal extra damage equal to the roll of our Hemocraft die. The damage type depends on the Rite that we choose, and we get one now and more as we gain levels. For the first, we went Rite of the Storm, making the extra damage lightning. At 5th level, we take 3rd level of Blood Hunter, joining an order whose philosophies will guide our life, and we join the Order of the Profane Soul. This order pushes their blood magic to limits in order to hunt down powerful fiends and wizards. They even make pacts with fiends and other beings to better fight their foes. Our patron is the Hexblade. The Hexblade patrons are sentient weapons that draw their power from the Shadowfell. Legend has it that the first such weapon was created by the Raven Queen, and many think that she is the true patron of Hexblade warlocks. As a Shatterkai, we are no stranger to serving the Raven Queen and willingly reach out to her for power. We get Pact Magic, learning 2 Warlock cantrips, 1 spell slot, and 2 spells from the Warlock list. Our spellcasting modifier is our Hemocraft modifier, so intelligence for us. For cantrips, we want Eldritch Blast. It has more range and slightly better damage than Ray of Frost, and deals force damage. To fit in with our Storm theme, our Eldritch Blasts are going to look like blue lightning bolts that deal force damage. Using Force Lightning is also a very fitting thing to do for someone who's turned to the dark side. We also want Thunderclap for another area of effect attack that deals thunder damage. For spells, we want Hex, allowing us to hex an enemy, dealing a d6 extra damage on all attacks. This applies to all attacks that make an attack roll, so works with our cantrips as well as our sword. We also give the subject disadvantage on checks made with an ability of our choice. We also want Armor of Agathis, giving us temporary hit points and dealing cold damage to enemies that hit us. Also, we get Rite Focus, a gift from our patron that makes our weapon a conduit for its power. The ability from the Hexblade is that whenever we target a creature with a blood curse, the next time we hit it with an attack while the curse is in effect, we deal extra damage equal to our proficiency modifier. This is pretty good, but seems a little weak compared to the gifts from the other patrons. Later abilities from the Hexblade are really good, though. Our cantrips also improve at this level, making Booming Blade very effective until we get extra attack.
At 6th level, we take 4th level of Blood Hunter, getting an ability boost, and we want to boost our dexterity. We are primarily a melee fighter, and this helps our armor class, but intelligence would improve our spell attacks, Hemocraft abilities, and also our armor class while bladesing, so it's a tough choice. At 7th level, we take 5th level of Blood Hunter, gaining an extra attack, making 2 weapon attacks instead of 1 when taking an attack action. We also get another 1st level spell known, and Comprehend Languages is a very useful spell to have available. Our Hemocraft die improves to a d6 here, which has its downside of taking more damage when we amplify a curse or activate a Rite. At 8th level, we take 6th level of Blood Hunter, and we get the second use of the Blood Maledict per day, and learn another blood curse, and we want Blood Curse of the Marked. We can use a bonus action to mark a creature, and until the end of our turn, attacks we make with a weapon that has the Crimson Rite on it deals an extra Hemocraft die of damage. We also get Brand of Castigation. When we have the Crimson Rite on our weapon and hit a creature, we can brand it. We always know the direction of the creature as long as they are on the same plane, and if it deals damage to us or any creature we can see within 5 feet, it takes psychic damage equal to our intelligence modifier. The brand lasts until we dismiss it or brand another creature. It can also be dispelled as if it were a spell of half our Blood Hunter level. We get a second spell slot, and they can be 2nd level. We don't get another spell known yet, but we can retrain a spell, and we want to trade Comprehend Languages for Shatter, giving us a 10-foot radius attack dealing thunder damage. At 9th level, we take 7th level of Blood Hunter. For Profane Soul, we get Mystic Frenzy. Whenever we use our action to cast a cantrip, we can make a weapon attack as a bonus action. Using Booming Blade followed by a weapon attack is often better than using an attack action, or we can throw a dart after using Eldritch Blast. Another good use is to pull the enemy close with Lightning Lure and then attack them with our weapon. Also, we get Revealed Arcana, another gift from our Hexblade, allowing us to cast Branding Smite once per day using a Pact Magic spell slot. We also get another spell known, and Mirror Image is a great defensive spell that doesn't use our concentration. We learn a new Crimson Rite, and we will take Rite of the Frozen, giving us the option to deal cold damage.
And at 10th level, we take 8th level Blood Hunter, getting an ability boost, and we're making our intelligence 18 because it's nearly as important to us as dexterity. At 11th level, we take 9th level Blood Hunter, getting the ability Grim Psychometry. When we make a history check regarding an item we are holding, or our current location, we have advantage on the roll. If we roll high, we may experience visions about the object's past or the location we are in. We also get another spell known, and we'll take Hold Person. At 12th level, we take 10th level Blood Hunter, getting Grim Augmentation. Our blood magic enhances our body, giving us a bonus to strength, dexterity, and constitution saves equal to our Hemocraft modifier. Intelligence for us. And an additional 5 feet of walking speed. Now our intelligence is helping us in a lot of ways, particularly when bladesinging. Also, when bladesinging, we are incredibly fast, having a move speed of 45 feet. We also get another Blood Curse, and we want Blood Curse of Binding. A large or smaller creature within 30 feet makes a strength save, or its movement is reduced to 0, and it can't take reactions until the start of our next turn. If we amplify this, it can affect creatures regardless of size, and lasts for 1 minute, although the creature gets a save at the end of its turns to end the effect. At 13th level, we take 11th level Blood Hunter. From Profane Soul, we get Brand of the Sapping Scar. When we brand an opponent with our brand of Castigation, it gets disadvantage on saves versus our Warlock spells. This could be really good with Hold Person, which we got at 11th level. We also get another spell known, and Invisibility can be useful in many situations. Our Hemocraft die also improves again to a D8. At 14th level, we take 12th level Blood Hunter for an ability score improvement, and it's really difficult to decide which one to take, but I think Intelligence is doing more work than Dexterity at this point, so let's cap it at 20. But really, Dexterity would be just as good a choice. We also get another Blood Curse known, and we want Blood Curse of Bloated Agony, causing the body of one creature within 30 feet to swell until our next turn, giving it disadvantage on Strength and Dexterity checks, and causing it to take 1d8 necrotic damage if it makes more than one attack in a round. If we amplify the curse, it lasts for a minute, and the creature can make a Constitution save at the end of its turns to end the curse.
At 15th level, we take 13th level of Blood Hunter. We can now use our Blood Maledict 3 times per rest, and we get Brand of Tethering. The psychic damage from our brand increases to 2 times our Hemocraft modifier. Additionally, the target can't take the dash action, and if it attempts to teleport or leave the current plane by any means, it takes 4d6 psychic damage and must make a wisdom save, failing to teleport or change planes if it fails. Our spell slots become 3rd level, and we get another spell known, and we want Summon Shadow Spawn, allowing us to call aid from the Shadowfell in the form of one of 3 Shadow Spirits. All have AC hit points and a number of attacks depending on the level of spell slot we use. At 3rd, they have 14 AC, 35 hit points, and 1 attack. They also have a Dreadful Scream, making each creature within 30 feet of it frightened for 1 minute unless it makes a wisdom save. The Fury Spirit has advantage versus frightened creatures. The Despair Spirit causes any creature other than us within 5 feet of it to have its move reduced by 20. And the Fear Spirit automatically takes the hide action when in dim light or darkness as a bonus action. At 16th level, we take 14th level of Blood Hunter, getting our last Crimson Rite, and we want the Rite of the Roaring, adding thunder damage to our options. We also get Hardened Soul, gaining advantage on saves against being frightened or charmed. At 17th level, we take 15th level of Blood Hunter. For Profane Soul, we get Unsealed Arcana, another gift from our patron, and the Hexblade gives us the ability to cast Blinks once per long rest without expending a spell slot. Blink is one of the best defensive spells there is, requiring no concentration and giving us basically a 50% chance of being unable to be affected by anything that isn't on the ethereal plane when it isn't our turn. We also get another spell known, and by this level, if we haven't found another means of flying, the Fly spell will be a very welcome addition to our powers. If we have Counterspell and Dispel Magic are both excellent things to have as well. At 18th level, we take 16th level of Blood Hunter, getting our last ability boost, and we wanted to cap our dexterity at 20. At 19th level, we take 17th level of Blood Hunter. Our Hemocraft die improves to a D10, and we can use our Blood Maledict 4 times per rest. We also get another spell known, and should take either Counterspell or Dispel Magic depending on what we took at 17th level. At 20th level, we take 18th level of Blood Hunter. We get another Blood Curse, and we want Blood Curse of the Muddled Mind, giving the target disadvantage on its next concentration checks it makes. If we amplify it, the creature has disadvantage on all concentration checks it makes until the start of its next turn. For Profane Soul, we get a Curse of the Soul Eater. When we reduce a creature that isn't a construct or undead to 0 hit points, we can trade its soul to our patron for power, getting advantage on all attacks and resistance to all damage until the end of our next turn. If we amplify it, we can regain a Pact Magic slot, but can't amplify it again until we finish a long rest.
Yep. And I love the feel of this character. A very dark and tortured soul, fighting evil beings while being corrupted itself. It reminds me of Elric of Melnimity in some ways, especially since its patron is a sentient weapon. It's also very powerful. All of its abilities work together to make it a strong melee fighter that can keep its enemies from escaping while it dispatches them. Its spells give it versatility for handling multiple enemies and attacking at range. I think the storm theme we are going through come through as well. I can see it dealing out justice with lightning and thunder as its weapons. I don't think we need to add magic items to this build, as it's pretty versatile. Magic weapons and armor would be good, and if your DM thinks it would work for you, Rod of the Pact Keeper would be excellent. But by rules, it only works for warlocks. Something to fly would be nice if we get it before we can cast a fly spell.
And I agree. And I hope that Fernando Ramuna Mentra likes it as well. Tell us what you think in the comments. If you have any questions, comments, or build ideas, please leave them in the comment section below. Join us next time when we do a Ranger Monk build. So look forward to that. And until next time, cheers.